Why does it seem like it's so offensive when a woman is trying to figure out, listen, do you even like me? Like, should I be spending my efforts on you?
Right.
We're doing this thing and it's like, how soon should I ask this question? Like, are you wasting my time, my nigga? Like, I'm not looking to be your friend, quite honestly.
I hate to say it, men don't tell the truth to that question on the first dates. We just don't. Especially if you look good. We're like, your job was, kids and picket fence and all this, Also, I think what happens is, I don't think men think about it a lot of times.
Yeah.
B, some men want to stay in that stage. It's cool because if we don't have a title, that means I can talk to different people.
Yeah.
And women have timelines, men don't.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be presented a certain way. Men were so weird. You have to wrap the package a certain way for us. I don't know why.
Can you tell I don't have time for that shit?
But I'm just saying. But you
ain't the one. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alexis, and the purpose of this channel is to have real conversations about life, love, and relationships. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Mr. Lee Teharte.
I
said all the way right? All right.
You got me.
Comedian, content creator, videographer, all around stand-up dude. And I do want to say thank you for coming because I love getting male's perspective, not just singular male, but plural male's perspective, because we don't often get, a sneak peek into the locker room in that way. Guys don't often take the time to really express themselves to women. A lot of times it just seems like it's not necessary or they don't want to get into it. So when a guy is able to and willing to communicate his thoughts and feelings, I think it helps bridge that communication gap between men and women so well. So I'm happy to have these discussions and put them out there. So before we get started on our topic, I wanted to ask you about your relationship report cards. So I think it's an amazing idea, and I think everybody should know about it. And it's another way that men are able to express themselves, and hopefully in a safe space, but really kind of get to the bottom of what the differences are between men and women, but especially in your particular relationships. So,
right.
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on here. As far as the relationship report card goes, I truly wish I could pinpoint exactly where I got that from. I don't remember what book I read or whatever, but yeah. And, once I dove into it, I was like, this is necessary. We have so much in it. And I say relationship report card. I think most people think when I'm talking about it, I'm solely talking about romantic relationships. But this work for your platonic relationships as well. Maybe your relationship with your child, if you got a teenager or whatever the case may be. And I think, is it necessary for everyone? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But definitely when you're trying to set a benchmark and be able to communicate with someone and let them know where some things may be lacking without feeling like, because I think a lot of times we hold in a lot of things and then we won't know about it, man or woman, until it erupts and you haven't been doing this. Is what I didn't know this was a problem.
This. Yes.
Right? So and I'm like, I just think it's something that just would be cool and unique in the first place. Rather, you put it in a book or something or anything. I would tell anybody to try it out for like 6 months or something. You know what I'm saying? Once a month, just do an evaluation. But what that also does is make us have those hard conversations.
Yes.
I know for men, definitely, and I don't try to steer it this way, but it's like, I don't think women are honest enough with men on certain things in a regular conversational way. I think a lot of times it's when
talking
it's combative or something. But imagine, one of the reasons this came up to me, the idea of it, after I read the book or whatever, I had one of those conversations that were very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And somebody told me, they were like, it was like after sex. It was like, how was sex? I was like, oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was fabulous. How was it for you? And I'll never forget. She had the cover, right? Yeah. She took the cover and covered her breasts, and she was like, it was horrible.
Wait, that was just like that?
Just like that, right? But it wasn't, in my male ego, fragile as it was, huff and puff. Well, it's a lot, But, I also respected the way she came at me. and I respect, you have to care about the person who's sharing this information with you too. So I respected it enough to want to understand and learn what the issue was.
Yeah.
But it's all in how it was communicated. And from that moment on, that's when I was like, man, yeah, we need to have more conversations like this without everything else behind it.
Yeah.
So
horrible though. That was good communication.
That was right. Oh, no, here, let me clear this up a little bit. It had been good prior.
Oh, okay.
So I clearly did something wrong.
Okay.
Now. You know what I'm saying?
Because I'm like, it's another way to say it wasn't that great. But
they could use another verb.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's dope. So you've been using that in your real life relationships, and how has that grown? Like,
it works great, and so it works great, but you still have to be in a mindset to receive.
Yeah.
Because it is hard sometimes here, and don't respond immediately.
Okay.
There was just something else I read a while back.
Yeah.
Like, take those breaks and those pauses, and maybe don't even look at it in the same room. Don't go. It depends on how you respond to information.
Yeah.
Maybe you can look at it alone and disagree with it or whatever, and then strip away the emotion.
Yeah.
And then have the conversation about what's really there. And that's only if it's something that's really triggering.
Yeah.
But for the most part, in like the difference between like a regular report card and work evaluation is the things on your relationship report card, they're going to fluctuate. They're going to change.
Yeah.
Because that's the idea. As something gets better, it falls off the report card and something else gets on the report card.
Okay.
But as life progresses, something's going to happen. Finances may change. This may change. People get depressed. So some things might pop back up there. But I mean, honestly, it's great. And sometimes it might always be great. There's gold stars all week, all month. You know what I'm saying?
Dang, that's so. As great as that sounds, I won't lie. I feel almost like scared or intimidated to try it, but I absolutely would. I would definitely
You'd be
put myself in a
surprised.
situation.
Yeah.
All right, so we will go on this tangent forever. So today we want to talk about managing expectations, and like you said, it can be in all relationships, but in specific, we'll talk about romantic relationships. And so just to start it off, for me, like the thing about expectations is they're basically something that we feel entitled to. It's something that we feel we deserve or we should get, or something that is owed to us. And when those expectations aren't met, we often feel like we have been robbed, like something has been stolen from us, and it almost makes us come at things from like a victimhood perspective. But either way, it's very difficult to then respect a person that you are with and treat them as though it's almost like we're coming to the same destination. One person is coming from the north, one person's coming from the south, and we're like, you didn't see that billboard back there? And we're like, no, there was no billboard on my path. And so it's all these things that we're like thinking that we're coming from the same direction and not recognizing that we have different routes to the same place. And so those expectations are so baked into us that it really becomes a very powerful motivator, but not always in a good way, in the way that we move through life and experiences and just our perspective on things. So I want to ask you, that being said, what do you think about expectations in general? Do you feel like they're good, they're bad, and why?
I think expectations are good and normal, right?
Okay.
If you call the police right now because you were getting robbed, you're going to expect what?
Them to come and save me.
And you expect them to have a gun to protect.
Yes.
You wouldn't expect him to come with a flashlight, right? You would probably be mad.
Correct.
So I think and I agree with everything that you just said, but I think where we go wrong a lot of times with the expectations, let me back up. For one, I think when we're dealing with someone, we would hope that for the most part, our expectations align.
Yeah.
And we think, there's this syndrome where, oh, this person thinks like me, or we want you to, and we think someone thinks like us. But a lot of times we don't dive into that because we just, we like each other. Everything's working out and it's good. But it's the uncommunicated or miscommunicated expectations. I didn't tell you that I expect, you to text me and say, hey, babe, how's your day? Every day. And then when you miss a day, I'm mad. I'm like, what's going on with it?
Right.
I didn't let you know, or, maybe it's not like a frustration thing, but if I never let you know how important it was to me and how much it lifted my day, because I have a lot of stressful meetings, and then you stop for a couple of days and now I'm mad at you, you don't know how important it is. Once I let you know how important it is, you understand that expectation. I'm just using that as an example. So I think where we get in trouble a lot of times is when we don't communicate those expectations. And I think in a lot of relationships, we just simply don't communicate expectations. We meet each other.
Yeah.
We're like, well, what do you think about this? What's your favorite color? What do you this? We ask a lot of questions, but there are a lot of things that we just don't,
we don't think to ask.
We don't think to ask.
We don't recognize it. Yeah. So I think that expectations are good. They're tricky.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are very good for understanding kind of our non-negotiables. Not that all expectations are hard lines in the sand, but it helps us understand the things that we are probably not going to be as willing to budge on, because they're, like I said, they're kind of baked into our fabric. It's like, this is just how it's supposed to be. So case in point, I went to visit my brother and his wife and their kids, and they were making breakfast for everyone. And my brother asked me, Lex, when you make pancakes, what do you do? What does the box have you add? And I'm like, water. And he looks at his wife and he's like, see, told you. And basically what happened is she had bought the pancakes that you have to add eggs. And my brother, not reading, was like, he done made this whole batch of pancakes that's just falling apart. He's like, I think something's wrong with them. They might be bad or whatever. And she's like, you didn't add no eggs. This is just, so you're just trying to kill me and my babies. And when he was explaining the situation to me, I had this epiphany that I've had over and over again in my adult life of how crazy it is, the things that I don't even know are just part of my being. Like the fact that he'd never asked me that question before. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something that I was prepared for, but my response was in line with his because we were raised together.
Right.
He expected to just have to add water to that box of pancakes. We don't even think
to look at, yeah.
We don't even think. It's just naturally like, doesn't everybody do this?
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? And so we're so shocked and caught off guard when we realize that people were not raised the same way as us, or they come from different experiences. And that's something that I'm learning now, of course, like as an adult, that I wish I knew that these things would be so big in my life. Because I think, like you said, when we're younger, it's just, I like you, you like me, seems good. Yep. Like you are automatically placing all of the things that you grew up with on them as though they live the same life. And it's a rude awakening when you realize, like, no, like in their house, they leave the toilet seat up. That's just it. Girls, guys, it doesn't matter. That's just how we were raised. In my house, showers are 4 minutes. That's it. You're not going to get no more time. So for me, it's like, well, why are you wasting all this water? Girl, that's just how you was raised.
I have to ask, with all that hair, were showers really 4 minutes for you?
Washing is different.
Okay.
Like washing your hair, that's, first of all, like, especially as a girl, like my hair is being washed in the sink. So it was a separate thing. But now, like, yeah, no, quick. I don't do any thinking in the shower, contemplating in the shower. It's literally wash, rinse, get out.
See? And if that's not communicated, that's a whole argument right there, unexpected argument.
Why is it taking you so long? Right. Just get up. We got a place to go. Like,
and it's so funny you brought up the pancakes as well. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, in your kitchen and for your sink, do you have like a dirty side of the sink where you just put all the dishes until you get ready to wash, or how do you manage your dishes?
I do, but it's not like make or break. Like,
right.
It starts off as a dirty side, and then sometimes things leak over to the other side.
Okay, so a good example. Where I come from, everybody, it's like the right side of the sink is the dirty side of the sink, right? If you see a dish on the left side, it's clean. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the dish rack was full. Maybe it just didn't make it over there. And so I've been in a relationship where it's like, yo, why do you, like, I'll have some clean dishes on the left side. And then I'm like, stop. Why? There's dishes on one side of the sink. Why are we putting dishes on both sides? But, again, it's those things.
If they're in the sink, they're probably dirty.
See?
You put them away when they're clean.
And then you said something. You said something else about being young. You wish you knew this when you were younger, but I think when we're younger, it's easier for us to conform to different things, and things don't stand out. We're not set in our ways as much with certain things. It hasn't solidified.
Yeah.
As we get older, we like what we like, how we like it, the way we like it, and when you haven't talked about it to at least clear it out, little things can be big problems. But again, expectations.
Yeah.
So, but it's easier to deal with when it comes to small stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you're younger.
Yeah. So those non-negotiables, it's something that it's recognizing that these might be things that you're going to care about, these expectations. So things that I grew up with, those are things that now I know, like, do you care about that? If somebody doesn't do that, does that bother you? So it's kind of like a starting point to start to say, what are the things that really matter to you in a partnership? Because at some point you're going to get to a hard line in the sand. You're going to get to something that you're not willing to negotiate on. And the more of those things you can figure out about yourself before a relationship, I think, the better that you'll be off. Now, that's not to say you're still going to find out things about yourself along the journey of a relationship. And you're going to be met with that question.
Right.
Is this a non-negotiable? How do I get past this with my partner? And that is a whole nother story that we definitely going to get to.
It's because you just said something that I just recently came across with a counselor talking about having non-negotiables. Because how when you meet people, like, okay, what if they hit this on your list, but this is still so what's the weight on each thing? It's smoking, one of those things where I don't care if you fine, got all the money, you charismatic. I don't do smoking because things will make you change this ain't that bad. So it's like over time, that thing that you saying wasn't that bad 10 years down the line, it's bothering the mess out of you. So that
Yeah. And I never know how far to go on these. I guess it's a case-by-case situation, but it's something that I definitely feel more people need to understand about long-term relationships, partnerships, and marriage is there's going to be a lot of things that you said you would never do that you will do and be okay with.
Yeah.
You find a way. And I think it definitely gets harder as you get older, but it's something that is done more often than we would like to admit.
Right.
And people start to think that, oh, shoot, I can't do this for no man, or I can't do this for this is who that may be true, but that doesn't mean that you're not capable of change, but you will do it for the person that you want to do it for. But just making sure people don't think that it's something wrong with them or that it's unique to them. This is a regular thing that people are doing all over these streets. So.
That's why I'm judging nobody's situation. Love is blind. And literally, the song wasn't lying.
It's stupid. It
would have you, listen, I can tell you stories for days. Yeah. It would have you doing some crazy things. But yeah, definitely.
So tell me how did you go about managing your expectations while you were dating?
So I think that's a little bit different for me because for one, when I started dating, it was just like, I like to meet people, period. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
And then when I first was dating, I wasn't looking for a relationship, honestly. I want, we can talk, we can do this, whatever, let's go out. And part of it for me is initially I'm not coming in with the expectations.
Okay.
Like, let's enjoy this piece of the ride.
Okay.
And that's what I do. And then as we get things, I'm like, okay, this could go somewhere. Then I feel like I'll bring my expectations in.
Yeah.
And as far as managing it, I think when you're dating, you have to keep some expectations close to the clutch, because you tell a man, I expect this, and if he wants you enough or something like that, he's gonna emulate,
right,
or act like, right. This is, and maybe for women too, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we will do that because we know you like that.
Yeah.
And then maybe change, like, well, I really wasn't planning on keeping doing. I got you now, type of thing.
Yeah.
So some expectations, I think you just have to look for signs of certain things.
Yeah.
And others, I think it's important to share. Like, hey, I really don't like smokers. I'm a drinker, but I'm a light drinker. I don't like nobody who really goes out and does a lot of drinking because that can help you all. That person can be like, oh, well, that doesn't align with mine. Boom. So, because it's like I see dating and relationships as, imagine a big hole. And you're leaning across to reach that person. They're leaning across to reach you.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody's reaching off further.
Yeah.
So if the fall comes, you're going to fall and not that person. So I think expectations help manage that as well. Where if I've said something that you don't like, but I like you, you like me, you like, well, this is an issue for me. But the way in dating, it's just like, I enjoy the ride for a little while, and if I see, I'm like, okay, this is something I want to do more. Then I slowly introduce certain expectations, like make the non-negotiables first.
Yeah.
And then everything else,
the
right.
tier things.
And, I'm not going to bombard somebody with something. I don't like this, I don't like that.
Yeah, you don't pull out your
list. Well,
yeah.
So that's mine. How's about yours? How do you?
So, and I don't know how healthy this approach is, but it ain't nothing till it's something. That type of person, which means basically I don't feel I have the cachet to hold you to any of my expectations until we've had that discussion and we are saying that we are either exclusive or trying to move forward in that direction. Otherwise, we're just dating. We're just doing whatever. Like, right. I don't feel like now that doesn't mean I don't have expectations, but I'm not going to really voice them in that way. I do, like you said, kind of observing to see how someone acts and responds in different situations. And then I'll assess and say, nah, or you know what, I can deal. I see how they act. It might not be what I want, but I can deal with this. So I make that judgment call on my own based on how they naturally act in their own element. So it's not like contrived by like what they think I want. It's really just how they act without me telling them anything. And to me, now, I do believe that you can tell somebody your expectations and they can try to meet them if it's something that's within their grasp or whatever. But I'm very big on, I can't change a person. So I want to know that I am okay with who you are at baseline. Because if you never change, I got to be okay with that.
Right. I like that.
If everything changes, I got to be okay with that too. But I don't want to start off with somebody that has to do this, that, and the other just to get where.
Right. You don't want a project.
No.
Like, no. We can work on certain things, but yeah.
Because I don't want, like, I feel like I'm not going to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated if I'm waiting for you to get to this starting point.
Right.
You know, like you're starting already behind the goal post in my mind. And the worst part about it is that goalpost is a figment of my own imagination. Right. I conjured that up. It has nothing to do with that person's worth, their value, or what they bring to the table. It's just literally what I want. And so it's just so unfair to place all that on a person, especially when they ain't said they want to be with you. Like, what's the point? And so I say it's not healthy necessarily, but I don't know. Because it closes me off. It makes me very much like, I will not open my heart, or if I do open my heart, if it happens to open on its own because I am human, I won't trust it.
Right.
I won't trust it to allow me to just go with the flow because I get caught up real quick.
What's your sign?
Aquarius.
I'm a Pisces.
Listen, we ain't nothing alike, sir.
I know, but no, it's like I'll get caught up as well, and it's funny you say that. You know, having the post is at one point when I heard that I used to have issues with that, but then I was like, there's nothing wrong with someone wanting someone to meet them where they are in certain aspects. Now, are we going to meet on everything? No. But even for me, like, I don't want to have to teach somebody certain. I'm like, listen, I can't teach you how to be a woman.
No.
Like, you know, it's things that I know that my mama taught me how women should be. I don't want to have to teach you that stuff. Other things we can move forward on.
Yeah.
And I don't think what you said, you don't know if it's the wrong way. I don't think anything is necessarily wrong. If it works for you, it works for you. And the person that's for you, it will align and work out as well.
Yeah.
The one thing I do know, like the whole heart thing, like my hardest thing about that is because I'm like, you have to put yourself in a vulnerable state to truly connect with someone. And that's the hardest part about starting new relationships is you're like, don't nobody want to go through all that. I can deal with a lot of stuff. That emotional pain. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily bad. However you deal and it works for you, it works, you know, because there's going to be someone, even if you yelled at men or whatever, not saying that that's healthy,
right? But
there's a man out there that's going to like that. Somebody, you might have to weed a lot more.
Yeah.
But, you know, then, there's certain things you can work on if it's like it's not truly healthy communication. But to be honest, I don't see anything wrong with that. But I think because it goes with like what I say, I'm not going to drop everything. I'm going to enjoy the ride first, and then I'm going to pay attention, and I'm going to let pieces out at a time to see how you respond to this expectation.
So the thing that I get a lot, and I preface this by saying I never know when a dude is like gaslighting, but it's that feeling like you're not being vulnerable, you know, like a lot of times because of my, I guess, rigidity in thought, a guy will be like, just relax, just it's not just let it happen, but it is along that vein of thinking, like you're overthinking things, you're overcomplicating things, and sometimes I wonder if my commitment to not get hurt by opening up before I get any type of commitment, loose or not, I am robbing myself or depriving myself of, I don't know, just a natural build of a relationship.
That's a good one, because I think we all have this natural firewall, things that we keep to protect us, and I don't think you should let it down immediately for everyone. So I don't know, but I'm gonna have to say I kind of agree with that one though. You know, you got to kind of protect yourself initially.
It makes sense logically, but sometimes reality and logic don't be quite gelling. But so how soon do you think you can introduce or set expectations? Like,
now this was a good one, because it's like, it depends on the progression, you know, with life and how we're dating. Things are so different these days.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people used to meet at the grocery store. You only met one person at a time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it just depends on the progression of it. And for me, it just depends on, because every woman or man, they're gonna show you if they want you by time spent, or whatever the case may be. They're gonna hit you up or whatever.
Yeah.
If I can see that type of investment, and then I'm like, okay, well then, you know, if I don't, it could be a week. You know what I'm saying? It could be, honestly, me personally, I'm like, we ain't got to wait. It could be like a month or whatever. You still, it's about how often you've spent time together. And then when you feel like, it's like, well, you know, because it's even weird to have that conversation. Like, well, where are we? What are we doing now?
Yeah.
What, you know, where we still dating? Even though we're adults, it seems like that's a weird conversation.
It is.
So it's,
what are we?
Right. It's like, well, you know, we friends. You know, but, so I think it depends on the progression of that particular, the dating experience.
Yeah.
I think if you're spending more and more time together, you know, when you start inviting them, spending more time in your personal space, I think these are times where it's important that, okay, I can start sharing more expectations, because I mean, you're in my house now.
Yeah.
I expect you, you know, I don't know your expectations. Before I came in here, I'm like, want me to take off my shoes?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe when you start really opening up to your personal space, if you're not on just the out into the public dating now, I think that's probably a good time to start introducing some expectations, or, you know, even if you don't want to introduce yours, ask the other person about, you know, what's some of your expectations? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, some of the problem is, as men, we don't set them.
Yeah.
We don't think about them until maybe it's too late or something, or maybe, you know, so a lot of this stuff for me personally is new. It wasn't until I started reading some books, you know, and I was like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can ask a man something and he might, because he didn't think about it. He just, I thought you was cute. I ain't had no expectations for you.
I feel like that's the answer that I get most of the time is like, we good.
You got to make, but that's our problem.
Yeah.
You have to make us think.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't on expectations, but I remember I went to this event with a bunch of business people and everything, and you know, I was like a big manager at Walmart, and but I'm in here with a bunch of CEOs with Chase and everything, and I'm flexing my stuff. I'm big stuff, right? And I met this guy, and he goes, he asked me what I do. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm co-manager, this and that. He's like, oh, okay, that's good. And he said, what's next? Blew my mind.
First of all, ain't nobody ask you to ask me no questions.
But I never thought about, because I was where I wanted to be. Yeah. So I was like, oh, there's other stuff. Yeah. And because he's like, so it was a challenge. So I say that to say, people have to challenge men more, because there's a lot of stuff we think about, but there's a lot of stuff we don't think about.
Yeah.
You know, and just asking that question, you know, expectations. You know, what is your expectation of me as a wife? How many people do that after they get married? We just figure we done been together for so long that we gonna know.
Listen, you need to ask that before. Sir, they're gonna tell you some things, and you want to be ready for it. Yeah. So this kind of the way that you're talking about, like women needing to kind of ask these questions to men to get them to start thinking about it. So this question that happens all the time with the "what are we? What's happening?" kind of thing. This is a strong theme now, where guys are very much like, hey, we don't need to, like, let's just do what we're doing. It's cool. And I get not wanting the pressure, but is it something because men haven't taken the time to think as far as women are thinking? Like, why does it seem like it's so offensive when a woman is trying to figure out, listen, do you even like me? Like, are we headed in this direction? Not saying that we are going to make it, but should I be spending my efforts on you? Right. Or what? Like, we're doing this thing, and it's like, how soon should I ask this question? Like, are you wasting my time, my nigga? Like, I'm not looking to be your friend, quite honestly. Like, we can be friends if it's going to lead to something, or we're trying to work to something. But other than that, I don't need no more homies.
So I think that comes down to a couple of things, and that's a great question. Like, for one, I think, you know, if one of the expectations was asked, or the questions like, you know, the first date or whatever, what is it you really looking for? I mean, I get we're dating, but you know, and I hate to say it, men don't tell the truth to that question on the first dates. We just don't, especially if you look good. We're like, yeah,
okay,
kids and picket fence and all this, But that shit kind of set the stage, right? Mm-hmm. Somehow. Well, I'm kind of. But then also, I think what happens is, I don't think men think about it a lot of times.
Yeah.
B, some men want to stay in that stage. Mm-hmm. It's cool because if we don't have a title, that means I can talk to different people.
Yeah.
And like they don't think about it. And the fact women have timelines, men don't.
Yeah.
Men have timelines for careers. Mm-hmm. Men have timeline. I want to get promoted and this and that and certain things. There's certain things we typically in relationships.
Yeah.
We don't set it. We don't think about it. You all have timelines. Not that it's a hard timeline all the time, but. So that's a difference between us out the gate that can cause friction.
Yeah.
And it's like, it has to be voiced that way.
Yeah.
It has to be like, listen, I know we're dating. I would like to, where I would like to be by this age is here. But what would you like to be? And then, okay, and so I think it has to be presented a certain way. Men, we're so weird. You have to wrap the package a certain way for us. I don't know why. But
Can you tell I don't have time for that shit?
But I'm just saying,
you ain't the one.
Can you see the difference though? Because you all have timelines and we don't.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of, and so some of you, and then it's hard to figure out which one is it. Okay, is it because he doesn't want to do this? Or is it because he hasn't thought about it? Or is it because he doesn't have a timeline? But again, those are just those tough conversations, and how a person responds to that can let you know a lot. And then. Well, I mean, we just friends. Like you say, well, I don't need no more damn friends.
Yeah.
I mean, how long is this friend stage going to stay?
Right.
And we'll feel bombarded or whatever. But it's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With people, it's like, no, I just want to make sure our views and we're on the same track and everything is aligned.
All right, guys. Yep, you guessed it. That's all for today, folks. You're going to have to catch the rest of this conversation next week, airing Wednesday. And trust me, it gets better. It is good, y'all. So thank you so much, as always, for rocking with me, rocking with us. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Tell your friends about me. If you listen to the podcast by audio, check us out on all the streaming platforms. Wherever you look for podcasts, we're there. If you are on social media, that's Twitter, that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Check me out. It's _Alexis. So that's ISS_Alexis. No E, no I, double S. If that isn't confusing enough, just check the link in the description for all of my handles. And I can't wait to see you guys in another episode. Bye.